Yeah. So, hi guys, welcome back to this episode of the Media and Content Business Podcast. And this time I have with me, I don't know her name, and she's refused to divulge her name to me. And but I'll tell you what, she's known as the neighborhood teacher on YouTube. She's known as Ms Medussa on Twitter, and she's been doing a lot of parody content. She's running something called Dukhdarshan, and she's just recently gone very viral on Twitter, so much so that the chief minister of Delhi is following her, Arvind Kejriwal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So yeah, so cool. You know what? I'm gonna call her Masteraaiinn is what she's asked me to call her,
Yeah, yes, I
and
did.
yeah. Over to you, Masteraaiinn. Can you just introduce yourself to who you are, what you
Yes,
do?
hi. Yeah, exactly. I am the Masteraaiinn, as you call it in Uttar Pradesh. So that might tell you of about where exactly I am based right now. And it is
Right.
in fact one of the reasons why I have had to, be so secretive about my name, although it is very, very easy to find. And I'm sure that you will be able to do it like in one Google search, because there were the first time I went viral was 2 years ago, and
Okay.
Brute and some other organizations, some other portals had done a videos on me, and there at that point of time it was like very beginning of this entire creation content creation journey. I had no idea how important it was, or it would be, to keep my name like under the wraps. And at that point of time I had not thought about it, so there is there are mentions of my name in those articles which are very, very public. So you can find it there itself, but I would like to not do this myself. मैं खुद ही नहीं बोलना
Yeah.
चाहती ना कि like I can switch
Right.
between Hindi and English, right? It's all right for your audience.
Yes. 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 That
Yeah.
works. That works.
तो मैं चाहती थी कि मैं खुद ना बोलूं, किसी को कोई मेहनत करनी है तो करके देख ले, एंड देन दे कैन फाइंड इट ऑब्वियसली, बट so far so good. So yeah,
Right.
I do create parody content. It's not really parody content. It started as this commentary, political commentary. I do political commentary. Basically, that's what I would call my content as. I would not call it parody content or comedy, because somebody has asked me like, "Are you a comedian?" Or they in one of the interviews I was introduced as a comedian, and I was like, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with that label. It tends to become comedy, but it's like absurd comedy, in
Okay.
literature and theater we have absurd theater, and because it's life has become so absurd that when you talk about that life, it becomes the tragedy becomes comedy. So in that case, in that sense, maybe yes, I can be considered a
Like a
comedian.
dark
But
comedy kind of a thing.
yes, yes. Dark
Yeah.
comedy is still considered it's a comedic genre, but yes, this is something which I really, really like doing, because it challenges me to think about things, and to like keep myself safe as well at the same time. Like, you talk about things, you make comment and you make taunts, but you don't like ruffle too many feathers at the same time, because
Right.
frankly speaking, I in the very little stuff that I have done, the trolling which has happened is very, very intense, and I'm not sure I will be ready, or I am ready for more intense trolling uske upar bhi. So इसीलिए I
I'm going to definitely, sorry, I'm going to actually,
yeah, yeah,
touch
go ahead.
upon this scrolling very soon. But, just wanted to understand. So, when was this journey that you started out? And, like I said, if I go on to YouTube, you're also kind of teaching English, right? That's where the neighborhood teacher comes in, and you're doing it in a very different way. And out on Twitter, you're doing something called Dukhdarshan, which is, like you said, you're taking a political, you're doing political commentary. Some people find it comic. And like you said, it's probably just tragic, right? But just wanted to understand, when did this journey start, uh, as a neighborhood teacher, or during the Miss Medusa thing on Twitter? Can you just help us through
Actually,
the?
through the journey, okay. Actually, the whole thing started 2 years ago, exactly during this time in September, because the pandemic had started and lockdowns had started happening, and there was so much of havoc in the society, like and the differences between social classes were so apparent. Like, you know about these differences, but you don't see them like thrown at your face every single day, so that helps you a little bit, that shields you a little bit from from the reality of the world. But those curtains and those shields were lifted during the pandemic. And I think I'm a sensitive person, and as a sensitive person, when I saw all of these things, it was very, very difficult for me to stay silent, because whatever the however the regime has uh, functioned in the past 8 years. At that point of time, 2 years ago, it was 6 years, and it had just been the beginning of another long 5 years, which I was thinking कि अरे फिर से 5 साल यही यही सब झेलना पड़ेगा, यही सब सहना पड़ेगा, इतना इतनी नफरत, इतना दुख. And then suddenly the pandemic comes, and then it was a unifying force, because the pandemic did not differentiate between religions, but it did differentiate between the haves and the have-nots, the privileged and
Right.
the non-privileged, right? So that distinction was so clear. And so many things, so many videos were coming up all over the internet. They were extremely heart wrenching. Like, I could not bring myself to look at the videos from the hostels and the hospitals. And I live in one of the heartlands of the COVID pandemic, and
Right.
we saw those the images that Danish Siddiqui had taken, the images of the funeral pyres and the Ganga ke kinare jo लाशें
Body.
दबी हुई थी, and all of those things.
Right. Right.
Huge impact. It had a very I think it had a very huge impact on me. I was struggling mentally. And I think this seemed to be like the only outlet that I had to talk about all of these things, because otherwise, if you're not creatively letting these things out, and you don't have anybody to talk about these things, or you do not have a strong support system, uh, administration wise, or nation wise, or family wise, you really have to have an outlet to talk about these things. And I
Right.
think the saw on the migrants walking from Bombay to UP and Bihar, that was the time when it was like, there is no way I can keep silent. So that was the time I had made my first video, which went pretty viral, and it was picked up by Scroll and Quint at that point of time. And
So
after
that
that,
that
immediately after that, there was the Hathras incident. So these two
okay.
incidents, they were pretty close together. These two things were pretty close together, and that is what I um, had.
Okay.
I heard my calling during that time, and I was like, no, I have
Right.
to start this.
So tell me something. Did you start creating these Dukhdarshan videos right away, or was it the neighborhood teacher first, or both of them came
It
together?
was a neighborhood teacher first. Dukhdarshan is a very new concept. I started with the neighborhood teacher because, frankly speaking, I am not a very not a very good actor when it comes to the camera. I am like very comfortable in front of the camera, but I cannot do acting, or I cannot do mimicry and things like that. At that point of time, there were a few creators who were doing extremely wonderful mimicry and very good political content. Like, if you remember, Saloni Gaur was used to create political content at that point of time. She doesn't
Right.
anymore, which is a very, very sad thing. But she was doing Nazma Api at that point of time. And then there was Garima, who was also doing Kangna Ranawat's mimicry, and Nirmala Sitaraman's mimicry, and wonderful, amazing creators, both of
Right.
them.
Right.
And in fact, they were the ones who I was inspired by them. I was like, see, there is a very healthy way to talk about these things, and a positive outlet. And if they know mimicry, and if she knows accents, Saloni knows accents, the only thing that I know was to teach English. I'm a teacher of linguistics and English. So I was like, okay,
Okay.
I know this, so maybe I can use this in whatever way I can. So initially, I started with conjunctions. I talked about what are the different conjunctions, and how you can use conjunctions to make sentences. And instead of using like normal sentences, I would you give political examples. So in one way, I was protecting myself by saying that these are just examples of sentences, and on the other hand, I was also making my point go across. So I had
Right.
to
Right.
like do a lot of mental aerobics when it came to coming up with a neighborhood teacher. And
Right. You know
it
this.
was the main reason for choosing English was because I know the language, and I teach the language, and that is what was going to help me.
Okay, so one clue for people looking into her name is that, or looking into her real identity, is that she's an English teacher. Apart from the
Yes.
fact that she resides somewhere in Lucknow, probably. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah, great,
Yeah.
great. So that it's great to know that how you used storytelling to kind of teach something, be it a language, or sometimes people even use storytelling to teach. um, it can be any subject per se, but then coming down to Dukhdarshan is you're saying first you used to kind of teach it, like use political comments while teaching something else, but Dukhdarshan is clearly pure parody or pure just commentary on what's happening. When did that switch happen, that what, now I need to be very direct about it?
Actually, I have been very direct about things during my in my a neighborhood teacher series as well, because
Okay.
gradually the examples stopped being lightly political to very overtly political, and I would take the names of the people who are whom I would want to comment on. Um,
Okay.
and because I did idioms, and I have a series like idioms of the day and words of the day and how to talk fancy, and I did something on foreign words in the English language, like I did German words and French words and Japanese words in English language, and I used examples. Yeah, so direct to usme bhi tha. But as
Okay.
far as Dukdarshan is concerned, there is this amazing person on Twitter called Narundar M. He does very good tweets, and his tweets are like excellent, like puns. They're so intelligent and they're full of puns. So मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता था उसका account. And then one day, I think I don't remember who approached whom, but during our conversation, he said, you have a voice which is very suitable for news reading, so you should do news reading. And I thought
Okay.
about it. I'm like, yeah, I have done news reading all my life because I was in Kendra Vidyalaya when I growing up, and Kendra Vidyalaya has this thingy of getting their students to do a morning assembly where one of the students reads the news of the day. And I always read the news of the day because I have a very boom, like my voice is clear and I have my diction is, I think, okay. So
Okay.
I was always given the responsibility of doing the news. So I thought,
Right.
हाँ, जिंदगी भर किया है, 12 साल जिंदगी के किए हैं, तो हो सकता है अभी भी कर सकते हैं. So I thought of doing the news at that point of time. It was like, hardly 2 months ago, because no, not even 2 months ago. Well, a month ago was my thing, was yeah, a month ago I got operated. This is very interesting because I got operated a month ago. I got operated on, there was a major surgery which happened. And because it was a major surgery, I did not have enough energy, or, the way I says things on camera. So I was like, yeah, I have to tone it down and I'll have to relax a little bit. So maybe Dukdarshan is something which I can, maybe news reading or news reading in the old 90s style is something which I can handle because it does not require much energy. So that was the reason why I
Right.
started. I was like, okay, fine, low energy hair. It won't give me so much of stress on my stitches, etc., etc. So it's gonna be fine. Let me do this. And that was the first video that went viral was a week after my surgery. So yeah, yes,
Wow,
that's
that's
something.
so, yeah, it's quite strange, a surgery leading to you speaking in a different
Yes.
manner. Yeah.
Yes,
But
because I have been doing Doordarshan pehle also. There were 4 episodes of Doordarshan before that, Dukhdarshan before that. And in fact, the first one was called Doordarshan itself because I had like, क्या है ठीक है ऐसे ही करो type से था. And then one of my subscribers on YouTube said, "Oh wow, this is very good. It's like it's literally Dukhdarshan." I was like, "Okay, Dukhdarshan is a very good name," and I said, "I'm using this name for my series." And then after that, I started doing Dukhdarshan, and it just stuck. And the fifth video went like way, way viral. And then Arvind Kejriwal followed me, and Ravish Kumar, by the way. So Ravish Kumar is more important.
okay. No, but I also saw Suhail Seth follows you. So it just showed whoever I follow. So Suhail Seth is a very big PR guy, out of Delhi. So
Yes,
even
he
he
is.
follows
He is.
you.
But
And I think he's
he followed me when I had like 100 and 200 or 200 something followers, because he was in JNU at one point of time to deliver a lecture or something, and we started talking at that point during those days, and that's how he followed me. He follows me like 6 saal pehle. I met him at no, I was
okay.
supposed to meet him in New York, but then it couldn't materialize. But yeah, at that point of time, yeah.
Probably he knows how to spot talent, kind of a thing. So
Well, I
that's
hope
probably.
so.
Yeah, but that's great. So now that the videos are out, they're really creating a sensation. But let me ask you something. when you started out with the neighborhood teacher, you chose YouTube as a medium, right? And just wanted to understand why YouTube. And were you also on Twitter at that point of time by any chance?
I have always been on Twitter. My Twitter account is like 12 years old, but hardly anything I've posted anything. And in fact, I did not start on YouTube. I started on Facebook. I started on
Okay.
Facebook. I started posting on Facebook, and on Facebook, you have your friends, right? My first videos were private. I had my friends, and I was like, "हाँ, friends के लिए बना रहे हैं. It will be a fun thingy." And because in fact it before the seriousness set in, my first few videos were very frivolous like two or three
Okay.
videos, two or three, not more than that. They were very frivolous. They were about how I am fasting, I'm doing intermittent fasting, and yet I'm not losing any weight because I'm eating so much, etc., etc. So basically very frivolous videos. But after that, when I started doing the political stuff, in fact the first video was on conjunctions, and that was like, I posted it, and within 2 or 3 hours, it had like 20,000 views. I was like, what is happening? Why is this
Wow.
happening? And then
Okay.
some of my seniors in college, from my college, from at due times, they were like, sorry, oh God, I just said my name.
I think you're somewhere. Anyways, yeah, and
Anyway,
please go.
anyway, uh, doesn't matter. If you can cut it, cut it. If you don't, if you can't cut it, it's all right. So
Let's
they said
see.
you have to. So can you cut it though? I have to be sure.
I'll let you know after the call is over.
Okay.
I'll
All
cut it.
right.
Don't worry about it. Fine.
Okay. And what was I saying? Yeah. So my seniors were like, you absolutely have to have a YouTube channel. You should put this up on YouTube because it is going to help you. One second, huh? My dogs are creating a ruckus. I need to get them inside. One second. Just
Yeah,
one second.
sure. One
Destroy
second.
my house. You guys, you have to have a yeah episode. Sorry, you have to have a Twitter. Sorry, YouTube
YouTube.
channel. And I was
Yeah.
like, I do. Like, there is always, you have a YouTube channel associated with your, anyway, with your email ID, right? So I'm like, ठीक है, I'll just upload my stuff on YouTube. It doesn't matter. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. So I started uploading there, but I never shared it with anyone, or I never, asked for the like and subscribe thingy. So वो
Right.
कभी भी नहीं किया. But it just happened because
Okay.
after Brute and Quint and these guys, they covered these videos, they used the YouTube wala link. So when they used the YouTube wala links, so people started coming in and people started subscribing, and yeah. So I had around 300, 400 subscribers for a very long time. It's only now after the Twitter thingy that it has become 4,000, I guess. I haven't checked
Right.
yet.
I think,
But
wait,
only after only some, like every couple of years, I something of mine goes viral, and then I gain an influx of subscribers, and then stuff happens. Anyway,
right. So how did
so that's
Twitter
the thing.
happen?
So I started on Facebook, then I went
Right.
on to Instagram. Instagram was my
Okay.
is my home, and because the people, the community on Instagram, I just love them, and they're
Okay.
very, like, they support me, and I'm very careful about every single person who follows me on Instagram, because every time I go and see their profile, if it is possible, if there is anything objectionable, anything which I don't like, I always like remove them, block them. Mental health बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी. So yes.
Okay. Okay. So just asking, how did this Twitter thing happen?
Twitter pay, actually what happened was, on Instagram there was this guy who was trolling me, and I got very pissed, and I was like, बहुत गुस्सा करके, and I wrote something which apparently is a violation or something. I don't remember. I think I wrote dipshit.
Okay.
if I'm allowed to curse on your podcast,
Yeah, yeah.
I wrote
Sure,
that,
sure.
and because I think the algorithm picked it up, and they're like, "Ki, that is like strike one or something, not strike one." They are like, "Ki, we have removed your comment because of this violation, and etc., and you may lose your account." So I was very new on Instagram, and I was like, I may lose my account. So I started uploading anything I uploaded on Instagram. I started immediately uploading it on Twitter, just to be safe, just to keep a record, just to be like, "Nahi, theek hai, this is also somewhere I can," because I would put them up on YouTube as well. But YouTube was not, I wasn't very, I'm not very familiar with YouTube and shorts and things like that. So
Okay.
इसीलिए मैंने सोचा कि ट्विटर पे भी उसको स्टोर करके रख देते हैं, तो ट्विटर पे भी अपलोड कर देते हैं. So actually
Right.
Twitter was like my backup for Instagram, and now I have more people on Twitter than on Instagram. But like I said, I love my Instagram community. They are extremely. I have found very good friends, like Instagram friends, and very good people over there who support and who I can turn to actually in times of mental distress.
Right, that's awesome. So, it's like one thing happened after the other, and there was no real conscious choice that I have to do this, or I have to do this. It seems more like a very gradual, you come onto
Organic,
Facebook.
it was very organic. It like I never forced anything. I never, it's like it's from the beginning itself. I say this on my Instagram, one of my highlights as well, because it's like before you follow me, or if you're a new follower, please look at these highlights in order to know what I am, what is my politics, and where I stand. Because some things are very clear, because this is the internet. I am not here to convince anyone.
Right,
I am here to
right,
say my piece. So if you agree with my piece, if you and I are of the same wavelength, then we can have a we can have a conversation, because I am at that point of life, and I am at that we are at a point as a society that some things are extremely clear and extremely set, especially my
right,
opinions. You
right.
probably will not be able to change what I think. One second.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I think you've put yourself on mute, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I did, because he'll make a lot of noise if he, like, sees somebody out of the window. He's like, what are you doing? So, anyways, so that was my dog for the listeners.
Right,
There was my dog, and he's very protective of me. And right now, since I am alone at the house, he's like, who is happening, who is coming, who's going, everything is has to be monitored. Anyway,
right,
since I was talking about it, yeah, it happened very organically, because like I said, I have created, or whatever I'm with the videos that I make them for my it's for a very selfish reason, that if I do not make them, if I do not say what I have to say, I'll probably go crazy. And because of that reason, I make those videos. So if you also find an outlet by looking at my videos, by talking to me on the in the comments or in DMs, you are very, very welcome to do that. If you don't like my videos, or if you have problems with them, your option is to block me, because I'm not going to have a conversation with you, or I'm not going to have a conversation to convince you otherwise, because I simply cannot. In the same way, you cannot convince me of your point of view, right?
right.
So
But
it is
tell
very
me,
very selfish, but
yeah,
yeah, that's how it is. So it
but
has happened
but
very
but
organically.
yeah, but it's great to know that people are using the internet, and creativity on the internet rather, as a means of dealing with, let's say, a lot of mental stresses, and the creativity that comes out during that point of time, particularly, and not solely for very business means, or for
Hmm.
profitability and so forth. That's really good to know. But just wanted to touch base upon how have you handled these trolls, because that's something very real which a lot of creators have to handle at some point of time. I myself am a creator. I put out a couple of podcasts here and there, and it's very difficult. I think people don't realize it, but when they say something very stupid, and usually it's abusive words, right? But it somehow touches a chord with you for that one day, for that 24 hours, right? Just wanted
Yeah.
to understand, and this is coming on a very personal level. How do you deal with it?
First of all, अभी क्या है ना, I for the vilest of comments, what I do is I usually answer, because I think I'm a creative person, and I think I can, हाजिर जवाबी जिसको बोलते हैं ना, तो वो हाजिर
Right,
जवाबी है थोड़ी बहुत. And specifically because it is the internet, and because it's like on phone, on screen, you do have time to think about what your reply is going to be, and what's going to be the most scathing reply, and then you can get back to them.
right.
So that time is there, so that limit is there, because otherwise in a confrontation, in a face to face झगड़ा and ladai, probably I'll be throwing hands, because मेरे मुंह से बात नहीं निकलेगी.
No,
But
but
anyway,
probably,
as far as
probably, just want to cut you short out here. I have a
yeah.
feeling, right, that most of these people who are abusing online, you bring them face to face, they are the ones who,
Oh, no, no, no. I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
They'll give it up, and they'll not be able, because it gives you this anonymity, and this distance, that it gives you a lot of power. And
right,
some people who are like, it's the same with bullies, because when you bully the bully back, it is
right.
it is going to like shrink away. I'll give
Right.
you an example. Abhi, recently, a person started talking to me, very, very vile language, starting from the like prostitute and ye wo this that, like congressy prostitute, and
Right.
a very derogatory word for the Islamic community, the Muslim community, dash prostitute, etc. So all of these things, he started saying. I thought of replying, but then I was like, mm-mm, let me do something more sinister. So I went on his profile. His profile was open, and I figured out his name was there, and then the place he worked, where he worked, his Facebook profile was linked. So I went to his Facebook profile. I figured out where he worked, and I messaged there. I messaged his boss. And I was like, you see, I gave them the screenshots and everything. This is what your guide, what your dude is doing on internet, trying giving Islamophobic comments, and it turned out that his boss was a Muslim person.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was like, he is doing Islamophobic comments and la 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 la, and I don't think Muslims in your company are going to have a safe working environment or secure working environment with him around. So these are the things, and I just messaged him from my own email account, and it was like, right, my name was there. Like, even if something happens, I don't care because he deserves it, and he did abuse me directly, right? So, and I
Right.
then I took a screenshot of the email and I sent it to him. Like, see, bro, I have sent this email to your boss, and I wish you all the best and thank you very much for your comments. Immediately, he deleted his comments and immediately he blocked me. And then he came from another account, like some other CSGO वाला account उसने बनाया हुआ था, तो उसमें से वो आया, and then he started abusing in the same manner. I'm like, listen, bro, I know it is you because you follow the same people
Oh
as the
God.
other account. You think I'm stupid? I will not do my due diligence when I'm going one on one against a Sanghi. And then he came from that account. He blocked me on that account as well and came back from another one. I said, listen, I am a linguist. I teach language sciences. I know I can identify a person from the language that they use, even
Right.
in writing. I know
Right.
it is you again. Don't do this.
Right. So
And then
this is
ultimately he blocked me on every platform, and then he just went. I don't know what happened to him, whether he lost his job or not, or etc. But that was a very, very satisfying end. So yes, sometimes I do this, but in the other million other times when things like this happen, I simply block and I remove followers, and I like indiscriminately, because you see, the thing is, I have not done this, or I did not start this, or I don't do this for the number of followers, because if I was worried about the number of followers, I would not be blocking people. In days when I don't get any followers, I'm probably blocking 30 or 40 people, like just off the top of my head. So
okay.
yes, that
And
is
this is on a
my
daily
way.
basis. 30 to 40 people you're blocking on a daily basis.
On a daily basis, yes,
Wow.
because sometimes that's when I feel threatened, or I feel कि नहीं मेरे को, and that's, I wouldn't say daily basis कि मतलब हर हफ्ते हर दिन होता है, नहीं, कभी कभी when videos are working pretty well and they are gaining like 100,000 views or 200,000 views, that is the time when these people come in.
Yeah.
And that's what for example, I made a video on the Leicester incident, and the Leicester incident was pretty it was shared by a number of groups of, like, literal Sanghi groups. It was shared by a number of groups, and a lot of people had come in, and lots of abuses had happened. So obviously, I switched off the comments, and once I switched off the comments, the DMs started happening, and obviously, so I started blocking them. So
Blocking them.
ये 30-40 लोगों का वो ये जो काउंट है वो हर दिन नहीं होता है,
Yeah.
but usually when a
And
video goes viral and when the Sanghis are on their
right.
way.
Right, right. So, wanted to ask another question about the creation process, right? Seems like, I mean, to be honest, um, how far is that consistency coming up now? Do you think you're going to do this consistently? And secondly, how is this creation process for you? What do you do to get all this? Are you consuming a lot of news? Are you what exactly do you do? If you can just help us with that.
The news consumption is, I think, pretty normal. Like जो भी daily news consumption होता है, because especially for Dukhdarshan, whatever things stand out. Some things stand out. Like in the current episode, I talked about our prime minister giving way to the ambulance. I think you have seen that video as well, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
it's very 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 evident that the road is empty, and it was I for me, I think it was a very staged event, because the prime minister's route is extremely sanitized, and there are the route is cleared off 2 hours in advance, 3 hours in advance. The DM, the superintendent of police, the biggest members, the biggest people of at authority in a particular state or in a particular district are employed in this process when the prime minister comes in. So it's not possible that a stray ambulance just happens to be crossing that particular area, right? So
Right.
it is very so things like this stand out, and when they stand out, and I think that I can use those in comment, like in my commentary in
But
Dukhdarshan episodes,
but do
even
you find
during.
it, sorry, but do you find it difficult to like curate such instances, or do you think it's happening very naturally and everything
Oh
is coming
no,
out?
not at all. Not at all. It is like जैसे I think who said this, Kunal Kamra, or who said कि India है content की कमी थोड़ी है.
Every comedian
It's
says that.
everywhere. It's
Okay.
everywhere. As in क्या कहते हैं,
So there's no dark of
everything is
content.
content. Everything can be made into content. Like everything, it's sad. It's not a very positive thing which is happening in the country, but it is the truth. It is the truth that everything that happens is content. Like for example, the heinous crime against that girl, perpetrated by Pulakit Arya. I don't like to take the names of the victims
Right,
in such cases, because it's always the focus comes on the victims, and the perpetrators and the actual criminals, they are somewhere always at the back of the year. So
right,
Pulakit Arya, the guy who killed his receptionist,
right,
murdered his receptionist, his house or the resort was destroyed.
right,
Like anybody who even watches CID or Savdhan India or like what is it, Crime Patrol, can tell you that's the scene of the crime. You preserve it. You don't send bulldozers into it. Like, can you imagine a country where the government and the state governments or the people in authority are doing this?
right.
So yes, कहाँ कंटेंट की कहाँ कमी होगी? मुझे मेहनत करने की जरूरत नहीं होती है, मुझे कट करना पड़ता है कि कौन सा छोड़ू मैं इस हफ्ते.
Wow, that's a about the cry thing that I think it happened before
Oh,
Dukhdarshan is what you've
so
mentioned.
cry happened before yeah. I have actually last year I did a workshop with child rights and you yeah, about a summer camp. Actually I did a summer camp. Mein one module I had with them, and I talked about how language can be used in order to in order to express yourself. So I had a wonderful time with the children. It was actually underprivileged children which whom I had worked with. And after that we had a very good working relationship, Cry and I. And I also did I think I also did another campaign for them in somewhere in the middle, I forgot. But this was one of the major ones which I had done after I uh, had reached the 10,000 followers wala
Okay,
barrier on Instagram.
okay, but
And this one, the particular one which you were talking about, the one about periods and one about the menstrual cycles and all, this happened almost a month, no, 2 months ago. Yeah, almost a month ago.
okay,
Yeah, almost a month ago, and I had paired it and I had like timed it to be on time with my own operation, which is also gynecological in nature, because I was because this was supposed to be on Instagram, and I'm very open, and I'm very friendly with my Instagram community, like I said.
right,
So, and I had told them about my surgery, about my procedure, because even during my surgery and my procedure, I had seen my parents and my in-laws being very hush hush about the whole surgery. It's a very normal surgery to have. Like I had fibroids which need to be removed, but it was somehow like, because I'm married and because it's a gynecological thing, people would think that, oh, whatever people might think. And there was a secrecy around the operation, which my parents and my family, immediate family, of course, other than my husband is an awesome person. Anyways, so other than him, everybody was like, oh, नहीं नहीं कुछ नहीं है, ऐसा छोटा सा है, कुछ कोई जरूरत. Nobody would talk about the operation. So I was like, I can't have this. This is not this is not who I am. So I would obviously always talk openly about it, and that included talking openly about it to my Instagram community. And therefore, I timed the cry
Okay.
partnership or the cry campaign at that point.
But tell me something. Have after now that you have 30,000 followers on Twitter, and do you see brands approaching you for the kind of content that you're creating?
Not ye brands though.
Consumer brands won't come
Not
to you,
money wala brands. No, no,
right?
no.
It's
There are news portals which have asked me to create content for them.
okay.
There have been feelers sent out by certain political parties
Oh,
to create content for them.
okay.
But obviously, I have said no to all of these places and all of these. Ye. First of all, ek to pehli baat to ye hai, because like you said, like we have talked about, it all has happened very organically for me.
Right,
Everything has happened at my own pace. And, as a person, as somebody who has done this or who does this with absolutely no monetary purpose in mind,
right,
um, so money is not something which will which will let me or which will drive me to create content for you,
all right,
because that's not how I function. I have to create something, or I have to make a video when I feel like making a video. If I get into a contract with you and you say ki make this video, make something on this video, I am not going to have that kind of inspiration, because it's just not going to happen for me. And then both you and I are going to have a very bad experience out of that, because I do what I do, and you enjoy my videos or you enjoy my content because I am free to create that content when I want to. And I'm free to criticize whoever I want to. So if I take money from one political party, I will not be able to criticize you. And that's not that's not gonna work for me.
wow,
So brands, I wouldn't say money wala brands, and I have not taken money ever from even if I have done a few, like one or two collaborations with like consumer brands. Like I did one with a shampoo because I have curly hair. Then I did one with a clothing small women-owned business,
okay,
a clothing wala business. And but I didn't take money from anyone. I'm like, हाँ ठीक है, use मेरा expertise है, तुमको use करना है करो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. However, I'm not closed to brand deals, obviously, but that's not why I do.
right,
और
right.
नहीं आ रहा है तो कोई बात नहीं, it's okay.
Right, right. Just wanted to understand, yeah, where it all. But I'm hoping that this Dukhdarshan series continues, because that's something which I look forward to all the time. I'm there on your Twitter
Thank you.
profile, just looking for, okay, is the new video out or not, and so forth. But you know what, Masteraainn again. I'm it's really been great talking to you, and how particularly, because whenever I've been speaking to certain creators, the focus is on how to monetize that, how to monetize this, how did we get the first viewers, was it paid, was it organic? With you it's been different. How have you been dealing with the trolls? The questions are very different, because the ideology on why you create content is different, and of course the content eventually that comes out is also very different. So you know what, I'm going to end this here. I think it's been a great time talking to
It
you.
has been, actually. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being patient, because I know I postponed this a little bit because, scatterbrain.
No issues, no issues. So I am going to just cut this here. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you so